ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to attempt to participate in this year's BookTube Readathon. The Readathon takes place from July 14th to July 20th and begins at the stroke of midnight wherever you may live. This Readathon is hosted by Ariel Bissett and a variety of other lovely people. There is a whole channel devoted to all of the information that you may need, and I will leave that linked down below. So Ariel has set 7 reading and video challenges for the week of the Readathon. Since I'm not a superhero and I do have to work pretty much full time next week, I'm only going to be attempting to accomplish the 7 reading challenges. So this TBR is catered to those challenges. So that I can keep my options open, I have selected anywhere from 1 to 5 books for each category. I by no means imagine that I can finish all of these books, so please, please, please share your opinions on these books so I know which ones to prioritize during the Readathon. Let's get started with the challenges. Challenge number 1 is to read a book with pictures in it, and I have selected 4 nonfiction books for this category. Little Princes by Conor Grennan. This tells the story of a man who reunites Nepalese orphans with their families after being trafficked during war. Half the Sky by Nicholas Kristof and Cheryl Wu Dunn. This book is a depiction of oppression experienced by females of all ages in developing countries, and how just a little bit of aid, such as that provided by microfinancing, can make a world of difference. Wine to Water by Doc Henley. This is the captivating story of a man who goes from being a bartender to helping provide clean water around the world. And the last book that I have for this category is Dear Marcus, A Letter to the Man Who Shot Me by Jerry McGill. At the age of 13, Jerry McGill was shot in the back by an unknown assailant. This book is his way of reaching out to his unknown assailant and of providing hope for those who may be in similar circumstances. Challenge number 2 is to start and finish a series during the Readathon. And the series that I have chosen to attempt to read is The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. And this is cheating just a little bit because I've read the first 2 or 3 books, but I don't remember which ones, and I don't really remember the storylines very well. So if I do decide to read this series, I will start over again and read it in the way that it was intended to be read, and it is bound in this volume. Narnia tells the story of a set of siblings who discover a wardrobe that leads to a magical land called Narnia, and adventures ensue from there. Challenge number 3 is to read a book with red on it. The first book that I have chosen for this category is Anne of Avonlea by Ella Montgomery. This is the sequel to Anne of Green Gables that I read earlier this year, and I have found myself missing dear old Anne. Then I have Animal Farm by George Orwell. It is about farm animals who revolt against the man. It is very satirical, and I've heard that it's brilliant. And the last book that I've chosen with red on it is No Impact Man by Colin Bevan. This is the journey of a man who takes a whole year of living a no-impact life. He lives in New York City, so he uses no modern transportation, very little or no electricity, and tries to leave no carbon footprint that entire year. The next challenge is to read a book that someone else picks for you, and I've asked a few of my book friends, and this list is not complete yet, so this may change, but here are the 2 that I have so far. The first book that was suggested to me was by my dear friend Jenna from On the Big Adventure, and is a short story collection called Miss Hempel Chronicles by Sarah Bynum. This collection of short stories is about a new young middle school teacher who has also just recently been married and is exploring new adulthood. I have been told that I can find this very cheap at my local Books A Million, so I may do that this weekend. The second book that I was told to read was by my friend Ashley from Said the Story, and it is the first volume in the Sandman graphic novel series by Neil Gaiman. I actually know very little about this, and I intend to keep it that way. The next challenge is to read a book from a genre that you have read the least of this year. The first book that I selected was The Opposite of Loneliness by Marina Keegan. This is a collection of short stories and essays by a young Yale graduate with a promising future who died in a tragic car accident 5 days after her graduation. I haven't read much nonfiction. I definitely haven't read any short fiction or essay collections. The next book that I chose was The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. This book is magical realism and historical fiction about a girl who is born with wings. She traces back her family lineage to try to discover why this may be. And the last book I have for this category is All the Light We Cannot See by Andrew Dorr, and it is historical fiction. This is the story of a young German in France and a young French girl who is blind, and how their stories intersect. The next challenge is a book-to-movie adaptation wherein you read the book and watch the movie. Hopefully I'll be almost through with this book by the time the Readathon comes along, but I do plan to finish it during the Readathon and watch the film, and it is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. This is a post-apocalyptic novel about a unnamed man and his son traveling on a road. I'm buddy reading this with some really lovely ladies, and I hope to read it soon and be able to watch the film and discuss it with them during the readathon. And we have reached the last challenge. The last challenge is to read 7 books, or an average of 300 pages a day. I thought that I would include a extra book here that doesn't really fit into the categories, and it is I and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins.
I may have already read this by the time you see this video. It seems unlikely, but it could happen because I think that when I do pick this up, I will devour it.
So those are all of the books that I plan to maybe read during the BookTube Readathon. Please, please, please share your thoughts on any of these books in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you soon with a new video.